It was September 11th, and we were trapped 4,000 miles away from home in the parking lot of a hotel and a bus with not knowing what was going on. We were right in the middle of a tour, and it was just such a traumatic. I knew people who died in that. I had friends of mine that were firefighters that used to come and hang out at the bar that was by the studio that we used to work at, that was in the downtown area. And they were friends of mine. We used to play darts and stuff in the bars. And I found out that 4 of them died that day. And it was like something happened that day to everybody in the band. Watching that on TV, and there was a building that I was in that building a week earlier having coffee with this friend of mine in the lobby. Like a week earlier, I was in that building. That's how fucked up that is, and to be in those buildings and see how massive they were and to see them crumble like that. And then we had to make our way across the country, and we had, we were freaking out. No one knew at that time if we were going to get attacked again or what was going on. And when we finally made it back to Florida, I just saw it in everybody's faces. Everyone was just like, especially Johnny, Jeff, even Caffrey, everyone's faces. It was just like, this, we got to stop. This is it. I can't do this no more right now. I just knew it right then and there that was the last thing we were going to do for a long time. I knew it was at the end of that road. And the Savatage, has always been busy. We've always been together for 20-something years. Even when there's been a couple years in between albums, it's only because we were working on other projects, but we were always working. And that was just like a wake-up call, man. Everyone was like, that was, no one said anything, but I knew when I got home, finally to my wife and my kid, I was like, phew. I was just so relieved to be home. It was just weird. And that's when I knew that things weren't the same anymore. It wasn't going to be the same ever again. And that's when I started writing the material that's on my record that I just put out. There's lots of references to that day on that record. And if we talk about it, I'll clue you in. But it was just, that was the end of that phase of our lives together. And then whatever's supposed to happen from this point on will happen when it's time to happen. No one's ever said, well, the band together anymore, or do we break up? No one's ever said Savatage is broken up. No one's ever said, we've just never said anything to each other. We've just kind of said, well, when we get, when it's time, we'll do it. That's kind of been this consensus. So I'm sure there'll be another Savatage record at some point. I just don't know when.
So either you or Paul O'Neill has to pick up the phone and, say we're ready?
I guess everybody's got to pick up the phone, I mean, someone's got to call me and say, hey, we're ready to work again. You want to do this record? And, and if no one ever does, I can't get mad at them for that. I've had them, they've given me 20 some odd years of their lives. While everyone else was out partying and having relationships with their wives and stuff, we were in hotel rooms or on a bus or on an airplane or in a studio, and our families were always left at home. We never could afford to take our families with us. So it was like, I missed my son's whole life, from when he was 3 years old until he was 19, 20 years old. I probably hardly ever seen him. And that's tough. You can't get that back. That's a tough thing to deal with. Sure. But it's what I do. So what am I going to do?
Your current band is Jon Oliva's Pain. Did you consider to call it Dr. Butcher and release another Dr. Butcher album?
No. These guys are their own. These guys I'm playing with now are their own thing. The name really doesn't mean anything. We're going to come up with a better name eventually when we'll call it. But these guys open up a whole new world for me musically because they're very versatile, even more so than the last Savatage lineup. And it's very interesting. I like the two lead guitar player thing, where you've got two guys. They're both teachers. They both teach guitar. They're both fluent in any kind of music that you want to play. You say, play me some Stanley Clarke, and they'll play it. You play me some Mahavishnu Orchestra, and they'll play it. Play me Frank Zappa, they'll play it. Play me the Beatles, they'll play it. Play me Black Sabbath, they'll play it. Anything. And that's fun for me because I don't have any guidelines now. With these guys, I can throw both oars in the water and go, let's have at it. You know, what can you guys do?
Well, then I guess your fans are very pleased that you wrote an album, Tage Mahal, with Jon Oliva's Pain. It's a great album, and I just saw you guys playing live last night, and it was a great show, and you are obviously having a great time.
Yeah, man, I'm having a ball. It's like starting all over again. And there's no pressure with these guys. These guys, they've all been around. You know, they're successful in other parts of their lives. They just want to play. They love to play. And I like that. And they've lit a fire under my ass, you know, and it's like, it's cool. I feel rejuvenated, and I'm singing better. I think I'm singing better now than I've ever sang in my career. And I'm just really happy. And that's important to me, you know, at this stage of my life and stuff, you know. I'm in my 40s now. It's like I'm not 25 anymore. I've got to be realistic, you know. And I also don't want to be singing sirens when I'm 63 years old, you know. But I still feel I'm young enough, and I miss playing, you know. Those years between poets and not being out playing really was killing me, because I want to play. I love interaction with people. I love to go out and have I'm a lot of fun at parties, you know.
Can we expect another album from you if nothing happens in the Savatage camp?
Well, if Savatage does a record, it'll probably going to be made for release in the end of 2007, which is the 25th anniversary of the band. This, Jon Oliva's Pain, the guys I'm playing with now, we've already got our second record pretty much written and ready to start recording, which we're probably going to do when we get back from this little European run that we're doing now. We're actually scheduled to start recording in the studio, I think, the 20th of October. So, and it's going to be called Maniacal Renderings. Very good record. It's to me, it's better than the first one already. And we haven't recorded anything yet. Just the songs are stronger right out of the gate, which is making me very excited about getting in the studio. It's a bit more progressive. There's a lot of great instrumentation on it. There's a lot of great playing on it. I wouldn't want to say Kiping Dream Theater vibe, but I'm saying it's musically progressive in certain aspects on that type of a level. And that, if I was to draw a comparison, I would say in a Dream Theater meets Black Sabbath vein, which, if you can imagine that, but it's kind of where it's going. A lot of big songs, so the songs are really cool. So I'm really excited about getting to work on that, because I think that's going to give this band an identity, you know.
So it's a band effort.
Oh, yeah, they were writing with me on this next record too. So this first one, I wrote all the stuff because I had it all written before I really got them together. But on this record, I wanted to collaborate with people, because I work best when I'm working with people. And sometimes a guy, even if he has an idea that might not be a very good idea the way he sees it, it shoots a spark in me where I hear something into it, and it becomes something that's really cool. And that's what I've been finding working with these guys. They brought riffs and parts and things to rehearsals, and almost every idea was something we've been able to incorporate into a song here or there. I mean, I'm still primarily writing all the songs, but I'm using their influences and their ideas to color them. And I'm very impressed with what they brought to the table. It's very interesting. It's going to be a very unique record, because it doesn't sound like anything that's out there, but it's very dark, very progressive, and is very heavy. A lot of weird tunings and stuff like that we've been dicking with. And we have one song that's like an industrial song. The only way I could describe it is kind of like an industrial metal in a way, with my singing on it. but it's called I Don't Wanna. And all it is just a song of just everything that you don't want to do. You don't want to go to work. You don't want to pay taxes. You don't want to screw. You don't want to fight. It's just this whole key thing about I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. All behind this weird, intense, sick metal, twisted sound. It's just really weird. But I like doing stuff like that. That, to me, to throw 2 or 3 songs on a record that are really weird, it's cool. I like that. So, but these guys have no qualms about wanting to experiment, and I like that in this,
Does the fact that you are writing for your own band, where you're the only boss, affect your songwriting these days?
Not at all. It's actually, on the contrary, I think it's made it better. It's made my writing better. These guys have helped me take my writing to another stage now by enabling me to try different pieces of music that I wouldn't have brought into a Savatage session. Excuse me. Just because playing with Savatage for so long and knowing the guys and what their styles are and their limitations, there are certain things that I wouldn't bring in there because I know he's not going to play that way. It's not going to be right. These guys, it's different because they are more versatile players. And that's not taking anything away. Savatage players are all great players, but when you're in Savatage has its sound, its style, its formation. It's like a football team. Plays, songs, formation, everything is, you know what I mean? And for me, that started to get a little bit stale after a while. With these guys, I throw anything at them, and they're all over it like sharks on a little piece of meat. They're like, oh, God. And I love that. I love their enthusiasm.
Well, looking back at your career, is there something at a certain point you'd like to have done in a different way if you could do it, again?
Well, Fight for the Rock is the obvious. That was the obvious downer of the whole band's career, obviously, besides Chris passing away, which was obviously the biggest thing that happened to us. But I think as Savatage with Chris Oliva, if we could have taken that year, the Fight for the Rock year, and turned it around, I think the band would have been a lot bigger. And I think that record really hurt us because we were climbing, and then we laid an egg. And we fell down the whole fucking ladder that we just climbed. We went, oh, God, boom, 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 right down to the bottom of the fucking basement. But I think we recovered really well. We showed our guts. We got up and ducked. We wiped the dirt off of our shirts and said, okay, here we go. So that was the one thing. If that was, that would be the one thing I would have changed, is I would have fired those fucking crooks earlier.
Gives you the best memories.
The biggest highlight is still being alive. Yeah. Oh, God, there's so many great moments. I think probably one of the moments that stands out is Dynamo, I think it was 96 or 97. And it was like 130,000 people. And that was big. That was a big show. The other highlight was chasing the guys from Cradle of Filth around the backstage area on a police motorcycle in Greece. That was one of the highlights of my entire. It was so funny because we just played Olympic Stadium at this big festival, and then I was drunk, and I'm walking around with a bottle of whiskey, quite like the one I have right here before you. And I was just making a joke to a police officer. He loved the band. He said, "Oh, John, oh God." I was like, "Hey, can I ride your motorcycle?" And he goes, "Yeah." I was like, "No fucking way." And I handed him the bottle of whiskey to hold for me. Really? He takes it out of my hand and he holds it and he goes, "Do you want me to start it for you?" I was like, "Yeah." And Cradle of Filth would just come off stage. And Ian, I know he's a good buddy of mine. They're coming down the walkway, and I saw him, and I started bearing down on him on this police motorcycle, and I started chasing him around the parking lot. The little dude with the plastic eyes was running all over the place. It was classic. They were a lot of fun, those guys. I like those guys. Chris Caffrey threw up in their tour bus. That was classic.
Right.